Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fridays in 14, the weekly show where we play Final Fantasy XIV on Fridays. Now, I actually screwed up a little bit. Screwed up a little bit. May have fudged up a recording. So this might be getting to you on Saturday instead of Friday, but it's fine. It's fine. We're just going to continue like normal. We're back here with Riku because this week we're heading into the Tam-Tara Deepcroft. We'll see how long this takes. It could take a little bit. The early dungeons do take a little bit. As you guys know, I'm going back through the story with Riku. I think I did this last week. I'm going through the story with Riku and revisiting some of the old dungeons, and I felt like what a good way, what a good opportunity to show off the old dungeons in Fridays in 14 because I'm already playing through as Riku, so that's what we're gonna do. So yeah. I'll get back to you guys whenever this dungeon decides to let me in. So, see you then. And it looks like we're in. So the Tam-Tara Deepcroft was a crypt that the people of Gridania would intern their dead, and we are asked to enter the Deepcroft to root out a cult of the ancient Allegan device Dalamud, which was the second moon that hung over Eorzea for the longest time until it broke apart in the what the heck is it called? The Calamity. So here we are. We're going to destroy the cult, who have both raised up the undead and summoned demons, or void sent. As you can see, they're doing some sort of ritual that's coalescing in the center there. Whatever power they're bringing forth. Alright. So, there's a couple things I can talk about here. There's actually a couple interesting things involving D&D. I don't want to talk too much about D&D though, because I feel like D&D is something that I can just really fall back on, and it can take a long time, and most of my discussion can be about it, and it just doesn't turn out good. Because not everybody watches my videos for D&D; they watch it for a multitude of other things. So I don't want to dwell on D&D. But the first thing I can talk about, I'll get D&D out of the way. So when the players got to this point, as you guys may or may not know, I'm running my players through a Final Fantasy XIV campaign, more or less. I'm trying to make it more like inspired by 14, using like what 14 gives as a basis, and then running off from that. But when they got to the Deepcroft, I gave them the option to go into it, as it was a major job that the city was asking to be completed. And they were kind of like, oh, you know, well, we'll think about it, and because I kind of made it ambiguous, because it was like, well, they don't have a whole lot of information. They know that there's a cult in there. They don't know what the cult is doing. They know who the cult is, and they know that adventurers have been going in there, and most haven't been successful. Most are coming out alive, but they haven't been successful in rooting out the cult. It's like, okay, so we really don't know a whole lot. And I'm like, yeah, you don't. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know what's going on. So they were kind of hesitant. Realistically so. So they decided, well, we're going to go back to Ul'dah, and then we're going to come back here once we've dropped off all of our stuff, because they had just finished Sastasha, and Sastasha gave them a lot of gold because it was a pirate's den, and I felt it was okay to give them gold, or at least some. I feel like I gave them too much, but they ended up putting it into a really good money sink, which was a shot. But anyway, they were about to go in here, and what ended up happening was they went back to Ul'dah, and they were like, hey, because I wanted it to be like realistic, like there are multiple things that are going to be happening in the world. I'm like, hey, guess what? The Copperbell Mines need help, which is the next place we'll be going to. And they were like, well, geez, what do we do? They ended up knowing that there was a lot more information for the Copperbell Mines. There was more stuff that the workers who were trapped in there knew. There were more... They knew what they were going to be up against, so they prepared for it. And they ended up taking on the Copperbell Mines. So I was like, well, you know, Tam-Tara's not going to wait for them. I guess neither would the Copperbell Mines, but Tam-Tara's not going to wait for them. So they finished the Copperbell Mines, which is a whole story in and of itself, which we'll get to when we get there. And they came back to go to the Deepcroft, and they were basically told, well, someone already did it. I think, well, most of them. One of the adventurers in that group that finished the job died, and actually ended up making. If you've played this before, you know that a very popular or fan favorite character comes out of this, and it is Edda, whose lover Avir died in, I believe, in Tam-Tara, and they actually had to leave. So I actually made them successful, where Avir died during the final battle against the Mind Flare that we're going to come up with. Oh, geez, spoilers. And I thought it was a good idea. It kind of showed, like, well, you know, this world is organic. There are other adventurers in the world, and some that are really well structured and powerful, and they're not just, you know, whatever. So it felt organic, and it worked out, because they were like, well, crap, I wish we would have done that, because then these people could have been, this person could have been saved. And it was basically, they learned because of them. They're like, oh yeah, there was a beholder, or not a beholder, there was a mind flare at the end of that, and they're like, oh sheesh, you know, like, jeez, that's rough, and you guys took it out, damn. So it was kind of a little, like, moment where it's like, they actually haven't gone into Tam-Tara yet, and it will be interesting because they sort of, if you guys know the story of Edda and how that goes, they sort of got a little bit of a, like, sympathetic relationship with Edda right now. And I'm dying. I could... Okay, thank you. And it'll be interesting to see how they react to Edda's fall, I guess. Hopefully none of them are watching this. I don't think they are. So it'll be interesting to see how they react to that. Especially since she seemed super innocent when they last met her. She was like thanking them, like, I'm gonna start off as an adventurer anew. I'm gonna be a good person, and I'm gonna go, and then things happen. So it'll be fun. The other thing I can talk about here, I want to use. I can kind of use Fridays and 14 as a. Jesus, this guy needs to. This tank really needs to, like. Oh, you're almost out of TP. That's what's going on. You're not waiting. You need to wait, buddy. Between poles, you gotta get your TP up. But I can kind of use Fridays and 14s for weekly updates as well. Something that I can do to let you guys know what's going on in life and what's happening. So I want to talk about the recent delay in videos this past week. There's a reason for that. And videos were, coming out. I had, last week, Pokemon White was about to end, and I was even going as far to say on Twitter, like, hey, Pokemon White's going to end this week. And then life said, no, it's not. July 15th? I think it was. So yeah, about a week ago. About a week ago, my grandmother passed away. And that sort of sent the family into a not a spiral. I don't want to say that because we weren't like completely devastated. That sounds terrible, but I'll explain later. We were very involved in the planning because we were in the direct family. So there was a lot of things that needed to be done, and that sort of made it difficult to give me time to help or to make videos. It became really like, I'm being pulled away every, 15 minutes to go do something, and it was very difficult. At one point I did try to record, and I actually couldn't because, I tried to record, and for those that don't know, I put up a recording sign on my door to let people know, like, hey, I need, a little bit of quiet, a little bit of courtesy. Like, don't yell when you walk by my door, basically. That didn't matter. I actually recorded with Creed a little bit. And people would just yell by the door, like they didn't care. It was a bit of a thing, so I just decided, it's probably just not a good idea to do it. I actually tried on Tuesday playing Pathfinder. That didn't work. That didn't work. I actually, like, 20 minutes in, just told the group I thought I was going to be able to play. I thought I was going to be able to do this fully because I missed last week. But I guess I'm not, and it's probably just best if I leave. So I left about 20-30 minutes in, and I felt bad about it, but, it was either that or I was going to get pulled away, every 5 minutes, and because it was the day before the rosary, the vigil. slash viewing. And lucky I did, because I think like 15 minutes later, I was pulled away for about 45 minutes to do something for like the little like program thing for the proper funeral. So yeah, that was a trip, and that is why videos have not been coming out, because I've been engrossed with that. And that's fine. You know, you need to do that. It's not just for showing respect for the dead. It's allowing the family to take closure. Yeah. Dude, I'm fine. I'm fine. But that's done, and we're back. So we're gonna continue with videos, and we're gonna do things again, and it'll be great. So yeah. And don't worry about me, guys. I've had a bunch of people on Twitter, because I was updating on Twitter. A bunch of people on Twitter saying stuff like, "Oh, you know, like I hope you feel good, and you know, don't worry, like they're not, you know, they're not." And I appreciate all of it. I'm not trying to say that that the meaning of those, you know, sentiments haven't been lost or anything, or they were a waste. No, I appreciate all of those. My mom appreciated them too, because it was my mom's mom who died. You know, it's not that. It's just that this, like, my grandma was kind of on a downward spiral for about 2 years, and it was just like multiple times during that there were moments where it's just like, well, you know, is this the point? You know, is this where she's actually gonna die? Because there were a couple times where she dipped and then she came back out, and it was like, geez, you know, that was a little bit of a roller coaster. But you know, we had, it gave us 2 years to prepare for it, to emotionally prepare for it. So I feel like for the most part we're okay. Let me get the spellcaster first here. So we're okay, for the most part, and I'm okay. I was able to process it a long time ago. So I do want to update on Aaron too. Aaron, for those that don't know, about the same time that my grandma died, actually, Aaron went into surgery on last Thursday. And surgery went well, she's been recovering. The dude the surgeon who did it is actually apparently like really proud of his work. They removed the pleural space between her lungs and her chest cavity, and then irritated the tissue so that the tissue of the lung and the chest would fuse together. So she'll never have lung collapses ever again. Erin had really bad lung collapses before. It was not fun for her, for anyone, just because she was in a lot of pain. And now she doesn't have to worry about that on her right side. In about 3 weeks, she will have recovered fully from that, at least pain-wise anyway. The nerves on the right side of her chest are kind of jumbled a little bit, so that'll take like 6 months to fully repair, but that's not as painful or bad. So she'll recover from the pain in 3 more weeks, and she will go to a follow-up, and she'll either be getting the left side done at that time or in December. which I'm sure I'll be updating. But she's good, you know. She's recovering. I'm walking now. I didn't want to walk. Here we go. I did actually mention in my failed recording, like I said earlier in the episode, I screwed up a little bit on recording, that I was super excited for 4.0 because we're getting close to that point. It seems like at the pace that they're going right now, 4.0 is going to happen in summer of next year, I would guess. I would guess summer. And I'm really hoping that Red Mage is going to come out by that time. Unfortunately, I already know that Red Mage is not going to be a tank because they've already talked about adding Samurai, which they've stated multiple times. Yeah, we're going to make that a tank, which I'm just kind of, you know, I kind of wanted a magic tank more so than Dark Knight. Dark Knight's great. I love Dark Knight. It's my favorite class right now, but Machinist at close second. But I mean, I want to be like a Blade Singer. If you guys have in D&D is a Blade Singer, I want to be that. I want to be like all my attacks to be like casting spells, or you know, even if it's just casting. You know, even if it's like, you know, you have to stand still and cast things. I want to be able to. I want to cast spells and have like a magic shield up. You know, a ward. All that stuff. It'd be super cool. Okay, don't wait for me. Alright, jeez. We almost locked out 2 people. That would have been awesome. Death. But I'm excited for that. Once that comes out, man, like, that's going to be my favorite class. Like, forget it. Even if it's DPS, I feel like it's probably going to be my favorite class. It's Red Mage, man. It's Red Mage. I actually don't have a whole lot of experience with Final Fantasy outside of 14, 10. I did play a little bit of 12. I played 13, obviously. I actually finished 13 on stream. So that was cool. Let's get these ads. Let's boop you a little bit for some death. Get out of that. Alright. Okay, here we go. But the question that I can ask this week, since I'm talking about it. So if you, I'll ask 2 questions because I like to ask multiple questions if I ask a specific one. And the specific one I'm going to ask this week is, if you're playing Final Fantasy XIV, what class are you hoping to see, or what job are you hoping to see in 4.0, whatever the next expansion is? I, of course, am hoping for Red Mage. I'm already getting Samurai, which I'll totally get into Samurai when that comes out. But, just gonna do it. And if you're not playing 14, what is your favorite class, general class, in an MMO in general? Or even an RPG? You know what? Yeah, in an RPG. What is your favorite class in an RPG? Obviously, there's Knight, there's fighters, there's thief or rogue. There's monk. Monk is a super old one that goes back a long time. There's archer or bard. Ranger. All that stuff. Give it to the healer, because, you know. Later, dudes. I got a commendation. I got leaving a good impression. I got my first achievement on him. Oh man. Actually, I don't know what that's for. So that's that. That was Tam-Tara Deepcroft. So answer my own question. I'm obviously looking to Red Mage the most. I'm looking forward to that the most. I'm looking forward to Samurai, of course. I really want I really want to say that my favorite class in an RPG is Jesus, this is taking a long time to get out of. Uh-oh. This is taking a long time to load out of. Help? Oh, there we go. Jeez. Yeah, I think I need to reinstall this game on my second hard drive, because that was ridiculous. But anyway, I feel like my favorite class is either... I mostly played... I don't get to play a whole lot, that's the thing. I've mostly played Ranger type characters. Ones with pets. So it's probably Ranger. In both tabletop RPGs and games. So I'm going to go with Ranger, but a close second is either Rogue or Fighter. So, Martial classes. But in any case, that's it for this week. Thank you guys for watching so much. And next week, we're going to go on another adventure with Riku, unless you guys say otherwise. The other thing I'd like you guys to post in the comments would be to say what you would like to see next. And that's going to be for every single episode of Fridays in 14 from now on. Post, down below what you want to see next week. And I will sort of compile the list and choose the one that I think is like the most exciting, or the one that I like the most, or the one that got the most votes, or the one that I see the most often. So, let me know. Obviously next week, Palace of the Dead might be a good choice that people might want to see. But I'll leave that to you guys. So, until then. Later, adventurers.